Dear Africa.
Good morning, YouTube. We had my hair twisted last night, so it's early in the morning. I am about to have my first experience going to RIB, which is Rwanda Investigation Board. My employees that quit after they got their first check, they refused to return my company equipment. I'm not a call the police type of person, but I am a woman here alone doing business, and I gave them the opportunity to bring my equipment back and to get a notarized agreement of the money that one of them owes me. And they refused. They said they don't care if I go to RIB. So I'm not sure if they don't care because RIB maybe doesn't follow up. So I'm about to find out. I've been told from another American that I need to write a report and I need to bring all my receipts and bring proof of everything. So I'm up early gathering all that information. I have to go to MTN and get an official stamped copy of the transfer of money for my equipment and give them copies of our correspondence, I guess, on WhatsApp and make an official report. I don't like doing this. I just wish they would have just brought my stuff back. But come to find out, I guess one of them, which is the one I should have fired, I wanted to fire twice, and I didn't listen to the source and listen to my intuition. And the first time, and then the second time, I let the two that he corrupted decide not to fire him. And I thought that I was letting him stay because I was like, I know people and I feel people's energy. And I was like, oh, he's going to end up messing them around in the end and they'll learn a lesson. Well, he ended up messing us all around in the end. And I'm pretty sure there's a lesson in it for them as well as me, because I should listen to the source the first time and not the second time. Then the third time it bites you. So yeah, I'm headed to RIB. I'm going to document as much as I can. I don't think it's probably legal for me to video in there, but I'll document as much as I can the process and the situation there, just to let everybody know from the States, how it works. Is it a good thing to do? Do they follow up? And what the results are. I just wish they would have brought my stuff back. I mean, the thing is, I guess they got another job. The one guy that corrupted them, I guess he found them another job or whatever. He couldn't take the job because he didn't even have the equipment to take the job. He didn't even have a computer. So the other two, I had bought some drives for their computers and a battery and I upgraded their computers. So that they could work for me. And when I did that, I told them, this is company property, and if you leave, you have to return it. So that's what they ran off with. One of them, he gave me his old drives and tried to pretend like those were the new ones, because the situation is they were stealing my company time. They were stealing the software that I paid for, my business software, in order for them to work for someone else. So the guy that corrupted them, he got caught. And so that's the second time when I wanted to fire him, and they didn't want me to fire him. So, they're on his side, they're like rolling with him, talking about and they were upset because I had to take money out of their check to pay their taxes, because that's my responsibility as a business owner here. And they tried to tell me that I illegally took the tax money out of their checks. And I told them, I said, look, go to the Rwanda Tax Authority yourselves and ask them. I said, go on the website, put in how much your salary is, and it calculates for you right on the website, what your deductions are. I have to pay your taxes. And they're like, no, you illegally took our taxes out because we didn't have a contract. And I said, you didn't have a contract yet, but I'm working on a contract and I still paid you money. So I still have to take your taxes out. I don't think having a contract is what kicks in me paying your taxes. What kicks in me paying payee taxes is I paid you your salary. So they're like, no, 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 you illegally took money and we have lawyers. I'm like, okay, well, have your lawyer call me then. But they took this other job they were already using my software, using time that I was paying them, and they took this other gig, and using the power of the computers after I upgraded their computers with the new drives and the batteries, and they were working for someone else. So this is the reason why they don't want to give me my equipment back, because then they can't work for this other guy, whoever he is, Racing Rwanda, or some little rapper here, a local rapper. I'm not sure who he is. I only know his name because when I checked on the computer to check to see if they were working, the one employee, he had been working basically for Racing Rwanda for like 5 hours after I had left. And that was just on the day that I checked. So since they all left at the same time, and then I saw a video of all of them on social media with this Racing Rwanda guy, Rwanda Racing or something, I don't know. But I'm assuming that's where they were stealing my company time, using the software that I pay for, my business software, to work for someone else. The intelligent thing would have been to tell the guy, look, we can't work until after 5 o'clock when we get off, and kept both jobs and probably kept on stealing. But they couldn't work for him when I was at the office, when I was standing over them. So that they were probably getting frustrated, like maybe the guy was getting frustrated, like, you're not doing it quick enough. And they were probably like, well, we can't just steal time right in front of her, so maybe that's why they went ahead and decided to leave. They also, people here, they always ask for more money and for more pay. It's ridiculous. Business standards usually are at a company, even my little small companies, my little startup. Business standard procedures are, after you make additional contributions to the company, after you do your job so well, after you're so efficient, after you're punctual, you participate in everything, you kind of help other people in the company, you come with a list of accomplishments, and then you ask your employer for a raise. And depending on what your employer says, either you keep the job or you leave, or you tell them this isn't enough money, and then you take your list and you turn that list into a resume, and you go and find you another job. You don't just start and then in 2 weeks just start dry begging for more money. I can't wrap my mind around why you accept the pay when it's not enough. Just don't take the job, go on and find you another job. They always want to say that, the pay isn't enough, I offer an entry-level job. They're very, very slow, very slow. I have to micromanage them. They'll steal time. They'll use your equipment and your software to do personal projects. Those things don't call for a raise. They actually call for a demotion and a deduction. And then they don't want you to pay their taxes, which by law you have to pay their taxes. And it's not gonna say it's all of the people here, but it's most of them. I'm starting to believe, and from me talking to other Americans and even Indians that do businesses here, it's most of them. So I was very discouraged yesterday and upset, but I just have to keep on moving, keep on hiring more people, until I get my team. It's advantageous to keep 2 or 3 more people than what you really need, because you might have to fire somebody. You might have people quit after they get their first check. So that's why you should keep at least 2 or 3 more, so you won't get left in a situation. Because the last crew that I had that quit, because when I offered to pay for their training and I asked them to sign a contract, they didn't want to sign a contract, but they wanted me to pay for their training. They all wanted to go. So when I asked them to sign a contract to work for me for a particular length of time, they all quit at once, all of them. So then I didn't have anybody. So it was like a big rush to hire a couple more people, and it left me kind of in a situation. Even when I came back from the States, I had my main guy quit, and then the other one, he had to go on internship, which he still is with the company, but he doesn't make any money because he's on his internship. But I will say, at least he's honest enough to let me know so he doesn't leave me in a certain type of situation. He also told me that he's hoping to get hired through his internship. And so he doesn't know if he's going to be able to come back, which that's fine. Just give somebody notice, 2 weeks, notice for a business person, especially a small startup like mine, that the pay isn't enough and you got to move on. But my thing is, don't accept the pay. Don't accept the pay if at the beginning in your mind you're like, why am I taking this job? And then if the pay isn't enough, why did you take the job? And apparently you weren't doing anything before, or you wasn't even making that much before, because why would you take the job? It's just a lot of contradictions that you have to put up with here. Like, they tell me that my pay isn't enough, or like my daily pay, it isn't enough, but your taxes aren't even what I pay you in one day. Your taxes weren't even as much as I pay you, about the same as I pay you for a day. And you're telling me that paying taxes, oh, it's so much. That's so much money you took out of our check, and you did that illegally. You're not supposed to take money out of our check to pay our taxes. You're not supposed to do that. I got a lawyer. I'm going to sue you. You know what I'm saying? It's so much money, but the money I pay you ain't nothing. That's a contradiction. But they don't understand. Like I said, they're all pretty much under 30, under 25. They don't have any experience. They don't have any elders. And then the elders that they do have, they don't have any experience. So they don't really tell them anything, so they don't know, they don't know. And then, you come in and you try to nurture them. You try to give them a little knowledge, business knowledge. You try to give them a little game, what I'm saying, a little life advice. And you think that they appreciate it, and you think that they're listening to you. And I'm starting to think that it just goes in one ear and out the other. But I'm still the type of person that I know that the source brought you around me because your behavior will be corrected, even if it's by example. I grew up, my dad used to always tell me a hard head makes a soft butt, because he used to beat me all the time. But, a hard head, it makes for hard times. You know what I'm saying? Like, just try to listen. And so now you're going to go through things that you probably didn't necessarily have to go through, and struggle a little more if you would have just did right in the first place and listened in the first place, and it's unfortunate. I don't like going to the police, but they won't bring my property back, and I'm not paying for them to steal from me and to work for somebody else. So that person needs to pay them. That person needs to provide the equipment that they need to work for him. So I guess they don't want to bring it back. I know that's why, because they can't work for the other guy. So they told me they don't care if I go to the police. So I don't know if they're saying they don't care if I go to the police, or if I go to RIB, which RIB stands for Rwanda Investigation Board. I'm not sure if they're saying they don't care because they don't follow through, or they just saying they don't care just because they're young and dumb. I don't know. I'm going to find out this week. So besides that, I feel a little better today. Yesterday, I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed in them, almost like a parent. Like, I was so disappointed. So the lesson for me is I need to quit getting personally involved with my employees concerning business, I believe. And I hate that, because I do care about people. And that's the kind of company that I want to run. I don't want to be some of the expat Rwandans here that are very mean to their employees, yelling and screaming at them, treating them with not with a lot of dignity. I don't want to be like the Indians or the Chinese that treat them like that. But even some of the Black Americans I've talked to, they're like, I was like that at first too, but after a year or 6 months of everybody doing the same thing from you, stealing from you, lying to you, being deceitful, you understand that basically, that's how you have to be. And that's just so unfortunate. But I still believe that it's not everybody. And I just have to dig through the people and keep hiring people and doing the best that I can and putting out good energy and finding my crew. But it's frustrating. So I've been having to take this whole day. And then yesterday, my energy was so low, just even dealing with them, texting back and forth with the pettiness and the accusations. So today, I'm just going to go file the report, get all the necessary proof that I need, type everything out, and just go take it to RIB and take it from there. I just wish they would have brought my stuff back. I mean, they don't even understand, because a lot of things here you have to get like a security clearance. I don't even think you can get a security clearance when you have a record. You know what I'm saying? So they're just not thinking, they're just not thinking. And then one of them, the youngest one, I actually had a dream about him already. And it was a dream that he was a baby. He was like a baby. And I know that they corrupted him, and that the two older ones, it was the one that I caught stealing time. And then he corrupted the other one that was his age. They're 28. And then they corrupted the younger one, because really the younger one is more talented and he has more potential than they do. But I don't know how he allowed them. I think him being so young and this Rwanda racing guy, them wanting to be down, and it's like clout, like street clout or something here, and they're young, they're not responsible, they rather hang out. I know that their pay, because they get paid once a month. I learned to pay them once a month. I know that their pay is a lot of money for them, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be up and quitting your job. I really don't even think that this little guy is gonna pay them, because that kind of situation, you could have just did your work after you got off of work and kept all your money. You could have made double money. A lot of them actually, even after they get out the university, because there's not that many job opportunities here, and after their internship, because the government, I guess, can only hire so many people as well. But a lot of them work for free for each other. So, if you choose to do that and you think that that's going to bring you a bigger or better opportunity instead of a steady paycheck later on, then, that's your decision to do. But just stealing property, not giving notice, that's not the way to do it. So I'm really hoping that the source teaches them a lesson. I really am, so that they can grow from it. I'm growing from it. I'm learning how this place is, and how the general population is. And I believe that a lot of that problem is, from what I spoke about yesterday, it's because the rapid growth here, the urbanization here, the restaurants here, the retail places here, they base all of that growth off of US dollars. And this is a Rwanda franc currency system. And so it's leaving a lot of the local, everyday, working class Rwandans, they're feeling left behind. They're feeling like this isn't fair. I cannot participate in the rapid development of my own country, because all of these foreigners are coming over here and they're doing business over here off of their country's currency. And I really don't agree with it either. I had already accepted that if I open a business here, I should be able to make a profit, but I should be able to make a profit in Rwanda francs. I had already accepted that, but now I'm seeing, as I'm going around getting more into building my business customer base here, now I'm seeing what the problem is, because they want everyone here, the retailers, the business owners, the landowners, the commercial people here, they do business in US dollars, and they cannot give valid reasons or show a backup for somebody that hasn't been here more than 10 years of them getting a return on their investment. And so it's even locking out regular, everyday investors. You know what I'm saying? Because everyday working investors, we want to make some sort of profit. Like, you have to make a profit. So you don't want to keep spinning your wheels, but I'm seeing very quickly and what happens when the commercial industry does that, whether the country is growing or not, you don't want this to end up being a country that is ran by foreigners. And then you can't, and then so what do you do? Do you use all of your natural born citizens as like low labor or low paid labor force? You know, that they can't even enjoy, they can't even afford to go to a movie theater and watch a movie and order some popcorn. Everyday working person, they can't afford to just go to the mall and buy some outfits. You know what I'm saying? So when that happens, the general population starts to deteriorate. And then you have to start cracking down. Then your police is getting stressed because they have more work to do. Or your military is getting stressed because they have more work to do. When all you have to do is base your urbanization, base your rapid growth, base your economy off of your economy's local currency so that everybody can participate. But it's not my job to come here and change this country's economy. And quite frankly, I think a lot of places in other countries are like that as well. The super rich, and the super rich, I'm talking about people that probably bring in 10 or 20, 10 million or more, the 1% of the world. They can go anywhere in any country, and they go around and they do the same things in every country. And I guess that's how it is, because I know it's like that in the States. A lot of the nicer places are owned by Arabs or Chinese, and it's really high, and you can't afford necessarily to go there maybe once a year for a treat. I know there's places like that in the States, but a working class person, you can afford for a little entertainment. You know what I'm saying? You can afford to get your kids something. You get your taxes back. They give you a tax break. So you can squeeze it out. You can squeeze it out in the States, and you can afford to do things. There's laws about minimum wage, even though minimum wage isn't anything, but you can afford to participate in the economy of your country. And I think that is the big difference from the US to these third world countries. I hope that for these people that society just doesn't get to the point to where they get so tired of it. You see growth, you see opportunity around you, and you can't participate. And you work every single day, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. You're tired, and you can't participate, in the beautiful new things that's coming to your country. I hope that it just does not deteriorate this country. In my opinion, that's why Nigeria has fallen into such corruption in the general population, because they have been complaining for years and years and years. The regular people, like, why do we have all this oil? Why do we have all these resources for our country, but only some foreigners are benefiting from it, or only the politicians are benefiting from it? And so then what happens is they get desperate. They say it's not fair. They say, you're robbing from us. You're not participating with us. You're not spreading the wealth. So we're gonna make this country unsafe. We're gonna take ours. We're going to take ours. Then now it's to the point to where we're going to kidnap people that are over here with all this money, stealing our wealth and not spreading it around. We're going to start kidnapping them and abducting them and getting our money. You don't want, we don't want Africa to be like that. I don't want Rwanda. It's a beautiful place. I don't want in 10, 20, 30 years for Rwanda to turn like that. You have to spread the wealth, and you have to share something with the regular citizens of your country so that they can participate in the rapid growth and the urbanization. You don't want just 1% able to participate in the growth of a country. And I know that this president, the genius that he is, I know that that's not what he wants, but he can't control everything. He's putting in the processes, he's putting in the infrastructure. He's giving back to his country. He's spreading the wealth and sharing the wealth. However, the people at the top that are first able to benefit from the things that their president is putting in place, you have to also do the same thing. You have to do the same thing. You can't just keep enriching yourselves, running off to other countries, living in other countries, and then taking your money from Rwanda to sustain your life in other countries. And then the people that live here, they can't even participate in the beautiful businesses or the restaurants or the retail plazas or the office buildings that you built in their country. What do you think is going to happen after the general population gets tired of it? Do you think that it would be wrong for them to start making the general population go into chaos to where can't nobody make no money anymore? You know, this is something that the people that are able to benefit from the president's infrastructure and the president's things that he's doing for this country, this is something that y'all need to think about. Y'all need to think about it. So thank you for checking in with Manifest Africa. Up behind. I done had so many people quit. I think I'm up to 10 people. 10 people now. They work 1 month. You know, you pay them or you know, I don't know, but I know they're gonna be online soon. So go ahead and comment and thumbs up and share. I appreciate it. She came onto the country shores as if she were a 100-year storm. Most would heed the warning in time, take shelter, before even catching the enticing smell of the beautiful coming rain. A few godlike men, yet untamed by Mother Nature, would embrace the strong, somehow comforting change of winds. Allow themselves to take up the treasures revealed, left behind her impassioned path. Knowing her omnipresence is in the same nature of themselves, which called unto the storm.